Well, a federal judge yesterday blocked key provisions of a Ron DeSantis Florida censorship law that aimed to restrict how university professors in that state, if they're employed by the state of Florida, State University, how they are allowed to teach race, gender, and U.S. history. The judge, Mark Walker, of the U.S. District Court for the Northern District of Florida, an Obama appointee, wrote a scathing decision which temporarily halts enforcement of parts of this law that was advocated and championed by this fucking Nazi Ron DeSantis, who will be the other Nazi stupid shit, the Orange Vomits chief rival as they run for the presidency in 2024. But the judge quoted the opening line of Orwell's novel 1984. This is what he said, quote, "It was a bright, cold day in April and the clocks were striking 13. End quote. The judge went on. And the powers in charge of Florida's public university system have declared the state has unfettered authority to muzzle its professors in the name of freedom? End quote. Well, Judge Walker, your outrage and surprise is equal to mine. Walker went on after that opening. He said, quote, "To confront certain viewpoints that offend the powers that be, the state of Florida passed the so-called Stop Woke Act of 2022, redubbed, in line with the state's doublespeak, the Individual Freedom Act. The law," the judge went on, "officially bans professors from expressing disfavored viewpoints in university classrooms while permitting unfettered expression of the opposite viewpoints. Defendants argue that under this act, professors enjoy academic freedom, so long as they express only those viewpoints of which the state of Florida approves. This is positively dystopian," end quote. But that's Ron DeSantis. That's another Christian fucking terrorist, a demon. This is a guy who millions of people are hoping will run for the presidency. Jesus Christ. But this is what the Christian Demon Party is about. This and nothing else. Destroy democracy. Destroy freedom of thought. Oh my God, you don't want young people out here learning critical thinking, much less critical race theory. Critical thinking? Well, the next thing you know, they'll be challenging our religious horseshit stories we've been pumping into children for 1,800 years. Then what? We lose power and control, the kind of power and control that only comes as a result of fear and terror. We can't let that happen. Because we are worthless fuckers, we Christian demons. We have nothing to offer in this life. Oh, we promise them all kinds of shit once they're dead. But we can't let these young people start to challenge what we're telling them with our Christian horse shit. Governor DeSantis called the Individual Freedom Act, which was designed to stop university professors from talking to other adults. When you are at university level, you're no longer by law a child. You are an adult. So Ron DeSantis decided to stick his bulky ass and his Nazi tendencies in between adults in the state of Florida, like he has done between his administration and women. Now he's after students. So the judge said bullshit. Bullshit. So this judge has blocked Desantis's law. This decision occurred yesterday. And part of the judge's ruling concluded that the law, oh, here's a surprise, violates the First Amendment rights of public university faculty and students. First Amendment? What, you mean that bullshit part about freedom of speech? Oh, come on. Or the right to, the right of free association? That? Oh, fuck that. Fuck that. The only amendment that matters is the second. Oh, and in the First Amendment, according to these Christian demons, it says nothing about separation of church and state, of course. So the decision by Judge Mark Walker on Thursday, yesterday, concludes that this Christian demon law violates the First Amendment rights of public university faculty and students. And by the way, it's the second time that this judge has ruled against the Stop Woke Act. You know, the Individual Freedom Act. Second time he's ruled. In August, he blocked the part of the law pertaining to private businesses, about which I am not terribly familiar. Now, before I go on and lose my shit completely, let me mention again my sponsor tonight, David Burleson. David, sorry to bracket your sponsorship with all my foul language. Oh my God, I get infuriated. Don't you? Truth Seeker, David, anybody, huh? But David Burleson is my sponsor tonight. Bless you, David. Thank you so much. His message, hi, Mike. Thank you for all that you do. Dave. Well, back at you, Dave, to the power of 10. Okay, to the power of 100. 1,000? Dave Burleson. Thanks, Dave. Back to this case in Florida, a University of South Florida history professor and one of the plaintiffs in the case. Her name is Adriana Navoa. She said in a statement that the ruling by Judge Walker is a win, quote, for the institutions of this country, end quote. She added this, quote, I hope that the courts will defend the existence of a public education that cannot be manipulated by politicians to push any ideology now and in the future, end quote. Well, the ideology being pushed, of course, is this sick, fucked up Christian demonology. I just wish they would name it. I realize that that's a stupid thing for me to say, but I say it anyway. Part of this recent wave of these censorship laws that have been advanced by these Christian demons in Florida and around the rest of the country, the so-called Stop Woke Act. Woke, go back to sleep, motherfucker. We don't want you woke. Or whatever they're trying to say. Half these bastards can't tell you what it means anyway. And besides, it's not a term that white people have any fucking use for. White people didn't come up with the term woke, but I digress. But this move by Christian demons around the country was designed as an attempt to give businesses and employees and children and families the tools they needed to fight back against woke indoctrination. What the fuck? Do you know what woke indoctrination, what that means? That means truth, reality, the way things are. What to face as we try to struggle against this goddamn Christian Nazism that is slowly eating a hole through this country. You know, I realize, as a matter of fact, I've reported on it several times, that membership in these fucked up Christian churches, whether they're Protestant or Catholic, the membership, the attendance has been declining over the years. But that doesn't mean that there are not still tens of millions of people who subscribe to this and subscribe to this dictatorial, unconscionable bullshit attitude of these Christian demons. Civil liberties groups and other critics of this law and its many forms all around the country say that it's not justifiable to have these laws in the books. It's vague in what it says, the law, and the effect and the intent was to create a chilling effect on educators as these educators try to teach the young people, the young adults who are in their classes, while at the same time trying to work under the threat of state retaliation, especially, but not limited to, this fucked up state of Florida, where, trust me, when the United States finally needs an enema, Florida's where they're going to stick the tube. Here's another professor, Emily Anderson, a professor of international relations and intercultural education at Florida International University. Professor Anderson told the Miami Herald, quote, "These policies have really led to increased efforts to silence and surveil academic speech." Big Brother. Judge Walker's quotation of the opening lines in 1984 were more than appropriate. But Professor Anderson adds this, quote, "Academic speech matters because it's a fundamental freedom that is really how our university system is grounded. When we have policies that threaten speech, it shadows threats to all other protected rights." Absolutely. When the constitutional right of a woman to privacy about how she maintains her own reproductive health, when that is destroyed by a fascist, Catholic, Christian Supreme Court, it's a threat to all other constitutional rights. Once the camel's nose is under the tent flap, the whole fucking tent is coming down eventually. This is where we are. This is where we are. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. You know, the Progressive Voices Network brings you commercial-free commentary from today's leading progressive radio hosts and pundits, like me, Mike Malloy, 24 hours a day. I'm not your typical old guy from the 80s or the 90s talk radio host, and Progressive Voices is not your typical talk radio network. It's a listener-supported nonprofit with no corporate control whatsoever over our broadcast. So hosts like me, Mike Malloy, are free to rant and scream and carry on about whatever we like. We're often controversial, but we're never boring. Weeknights, 9 p.m. in the East, 6 p.m. in the West on the Progressive Voices Network. Always progressive, always on. I'm Mike Malloy. Keep it lit.